Welcome to Quarter 4, Week 6, Grade 4, Mathematics. Interprets data presented in different kinds of bar graphs: vertical, horizontal, single, double bars. Solves routine and non-routine problems using data presented in a single or double bar graph. Here are the types of bar graphs indicating its parts. This is a single vertical bar graph. Here, this part is called the title. This is the vertical axis, and this is the horizontal axis. Here is another example of a bar graph. You can see this part is called the title. This is the vertical axis. This is the horizontal axis. And this time it has a legend. This is a double vertical bar graph. We now go to our lesson. Lesson 1. Interpreting bar graph. A bar graph is a visual way of showing information in which quantities corresponding to particular categories are presented by rectangular bars of equal width. The lengths or heights of the rectangular bars compare the quantities in different categories. On the right side is a single vertical bar graph representing the number of hours spent in playing computers per day of 5 children. The vertical bars compare the number of hours playing computer for each child per day. Here are the number of hours from 0 to 6. Here are the names of the children. And here are the vertical bars representing the number of hours spent in playing computers per day. The same data can also be displayed using horizontal bars called single horizontal bar graph as shown in the right. Same title, number of hours playing computer per day. This time you can see in the vertical axis the names of the children playing computer, while on the horizontal axis the number of hours. In the same graph, the title is clearly shown above the graph, and both axes, vertical axis and horizontal axis, were labeled. Remember, bar graph shows collected information or data, and this data can lead you to discuss and allow you to draw conclusions. Let us use the graph single vertical horizontal bar graph from the previous page to answer some questions. Here is the bar graph. Number 1. What is the title of the bar graph? You can see the title of the bar graph at the top of the bar graph. So what is the answer? Number of hours playing computer per day. Number 2. In the single vertical bar graph, What information is placed along the horizontal axis? This is the single vertical bar graph. This is the horizontal axis. The answer to the question is names. What can you see on the vertical axis? Number of hours. Number 3. In the horizontal bar graph, what information is placed along the horizontal axis? Here is the horizontal bar graph. And the horizontal axis is this. The answer to the question is number of hours. What can you see on the vertical axis? Here is the vertical axis. Names. Number 4. Who spent the most number of hours playing computer? By looking at the graph, you can see that Mark has the longest bar. Your answer will be Mark. How many hours does Andrea spend in playing computer? By looking at the bar graph, here is Andrea. The top of the bar coincides with 5. The answer will be 5 hours. Who spent the least number of hours playing computer? Again, by looking either the vertical or horizontal bar graph, the smallest bar that you can see is Ruben. So that will be your answer. Who spent the least number of hours playing computer? It is Ruben. How many more hours does Nelia spend than Sarah in playing computer? Again, by looking at the bar graph, look at the data of Nelia. Here is Nelia. And Sarah. Here is Sarah. Nelia spent 4 hours playing computer per day, while Sarah spent 3 hours playing computer. What will you do? Subtract Sarah's playing hours from Nelia. 4, which is Nelia's playing hours, minus 3, which is Sarah's playing hour. Your answer will be 1 hour. Number 8. What is the total number of hours the 5 children spent in playing computer in 1 day? What will you do? You will add all the playing hours of the 5 children. Andrea spent 5 hours in playing computer. Mark spent 6 hours in playing computer. Sarah spent 3 hours in playing computer. Ruben spent 1 hour in playing computer. And Nelia spent 4 hours in playing computer. You add 5 plus 6 plus 3 plus 1 plus 4. The answer is 19 hours. A double bar graph helps us compare or present more than one kind of information instead of just one by using bars. Same with single bar graph. A double bar graph can also be vertical or horizontal. It also have 2 axes, the vertical axis and the horizontal axis. A legend is necessary for this kind of graph, which represents the data being compared. A double vertical bar graph displays vertical bars to represent data. A graph on the right is an example of a double vertical bar graph representing grade 4 favorite sports. So this is a double vertical bar graph because it represents two data. The blue represents the boys and the pink represents the girls. This is called a legend. Let us use the graphs, double vertical or horizontal bar graph, to answer the following questions. Number 1. What is the title of the bar graph? Again, you can see the title at the top of the bar graph. The title is Favorite Sports of Grade 4. Number 2. In the double vertical bar graph, what does the vertical axis represent? Here is the double vertical bar graph, and here is the vertical axis. What will be your answer? Number of pupils. Number 3. In the double vertical bar graph, what does the horizontal axis represent? Again, here is the double vertical bar graph, and this is the horizontal axis. Your answer will be name of sports. Number 4. What groups of data are being compared? By looking at the graph, your answer will be favorite sports of boys and girls in grade 4. Number 5. How many boys like basketball? Again, by looking at the graph, here is basketball. By looking at the data, you can see that 12 boys like basketball. Number 6. How many more boys than girls like volleyball? Look at the data in volleyball. 10 boys like volleyball, while 2 girls like volleyball. You subtract 2 from 10. So 10 minus 2 is equal to 8. 8 more boys like volleyball than girls. Number 7. What is the most favorite sports of girls? Look at the pink bars. What is the longest bar that you can see? You can see that this is the longest bar, and your answer will be bowling. Bowling is the most favorite sport of girls. Number 8. How many more girls like bowling than badminton? Here is bowling, and here is badminton. Here is bowling in the horizontal bar graph, and this is badminton. 10 girls like bowling, while 8 girls like badminton. What will you do? You subtract 8 from 10. So 10 minus 8 is equal to 2. 2 girls like bowling more than badminton. Number 9. How many pupils like volleyball? Here is volleyball. 10 boys like volleyball. 2 girls like volleyball. Your answer will be 12. 12 pupils like volleyball. Number 10. What is the most favorite sport of boys? Here are the data of boys. You can see that the longest bar is basketball. Your answer will be basketball. Lesson 2. Routine and non-routine problems using data presented in a single or double bar graph. Use the data in the given graph to answer the following questions. The bar graph above shows the number of hours that 5 pupils spend in playing computer. How many more hours does Mark spend in playing computer than Andrea? What is asked? The number of hours Mark spent in playing computer more than Andrea. What facts are needed to solve the problem? Or what are given? Mark played 6 hours and Andrea played 5 hours. What operation will you use? You will use subtraction. What is the number sentence? 6 minus 5 is equal to n. What is the complete answer? Mark spent 1 hour in playing computer more than Andrea. The 2 bar graphs show the favorite sports of grade 4. How many grade 4 pupils like bowling more than badminton? Letter A, what is asked? The number of grade 4 pupils like bowling more than badminton. What are the given facts? For bowling, boys have 8, girls have 10. For badminton, boys have 4, girls have 8. What operation will you use? You will use addition and subtraction. What is the number sentence? 8 plus 10 minus 4 plus 8 is equal to n. 8 plus 10 is 18. Minus 4 plus 8 is 12. 18 minus 12 will be your answer. What is the complete answer? There are 6 grade 4 pupils who like bowling more than badminton. Remember, you have learned from this lesson 2 types of bar graphs. The single bar graph, which shows single bars to represent data, and double bar graph, which represents more than one kind of information using bars. A single bar graph can be horizontal or vertical as well as the double bar graph. A horizontal bar graph includes 2 axes, the horizontal and vertical axis with labels, title, and scale. The vertical axis is the group data, while the horizontal axis is the frequency data. A vertical bar graph also has 2 axes, the horizontal axis and the vertical axis, with labels, the title, and the scale. The horizontal axis is the group data, while the vertical axis is the frequency data. To interpret bar graphs, look into its parts. Find the vertical axis and the horizontal axis. Look into the labels and the scales. And look for the legend.